Hello, my name is Miss Jones. I teach elementary school math and welcome to my channel, Miss Math Jones. Today we're going to be working on our third grade Eureka Module 6, Lesson 6 homework. Our objective for this homework is to rotate strip diagrams vertically. So we're working on rotating them or writing them straight up and down. Let's get started. Now, before we start, I just want to remind you to try to complete your homework on your own and use the video to help you check your work. Now, number 1 says, Addie surveys third graders to find out their favorite fruits. The results are in the frequency table below. So I see the title of the frequency table says favorite fruits of third graders. And then in the left column, we have fruit. Types of fruit shown are banana, apple, strawberry, and peach. Then in the right column, it shows the number of student votes. So the fruit banana had 8 votes. The fruit of apple had 16 votes. The fruit of strawberry had 12 votes. And the fruit of peach had 4 votes. Now, below our frequency table, it says to draw units of 2 to complete the strip diagrams to show the total votes for each fruit. The first one has been done for you. So you see banana, and of course, banana received 8 student votes. So there is a horizontal strip diagram showing 8. Each square is equal to 2. So there are 4 squares. And if you count by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, you get 8. And that is the total number of student votes for banana. Now, we're going to do the same thing for apple, strawberry, and peach. So for apple, we need to represent 16 votes, and we need to draw it in units of 2. So let's draw our units of 2 in a strip diagram and count by twos until we get to 16, because there were 16 students that voted for apple. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Now let's go ahead and work on strawberry. There were 12 student votes for strawberry. So we're going to draw a strip diagram using units of 2 and represent 12 votes. And we're going to count by twos while we do it. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Now we're going to move on to peach. There were 4 student votes for peach. So we're going to draw a strip diagram in units of 2 and count by twos while we draw it. And again, we're representing 4 student votes. 2, 4. Now that we've finished completing our strip diagrams to show the total number of votes for each fruit, we need to explain how you can create vertical strip diagrams to show this data. Now, these strip diagrams are horizontal, okay, which means they are side to side, right? A vertical strip diagram would be up and down. So for number 2, where it says to explain how you can create vertical strip diagrams to show this data, my explanation says instead of drawing the squares side by side, I could stack them one on top of the other like this. Stacking them one on top of the other would make them vertical. Now, at this point, you can go ahead and pause your video to check your work and make sure that the work on your paper matches the work on my screen. Again, hopefully you completed the homework prior to watching the video so that all you're doing right now is checking your work. look at number 3. Number 3 says complete the vertical strip diagrams below using the data, which means information, from problem 1. So we're using all of the same numbers from problem 1. The only difference is that we are creating our number lines vertically, or our strip diagrams vertically, instead of horizontally. Now, I like to write the numbers that I'm supposed to be working with for each category across the top, just as a reminder so that I know what number I'm going to. So I'm going to write the numbers that are supposed to be represented for each fruit across the top on both A and B. So again, there were 8 votes for banana, 16 for apple, 12 for strawberry, and 4 for peach. And I'm going to do the same thing for B. 8 votes for banana, 16 for apple, 12 for strawberry, 4 for peach. Now for number 3A, I'm going to represent each fruit by using units of 2. Banana has already been done for us, so we're going to start with apple. Now remember, we're representing this in units of 2. So I want to make a little key for myself, and it's actually good practice for you to make a key as well, just so that you start training yourself to look for keys when you see data tables. Any type of frequency tables or picture graphs, it's always good to have a key. So below my actual vertical strip diagram, I'm going to write that each square with a 2 in it is equal to 2. And that way I'm just reminding myself that every time I draw a square with a 2 in it, that it's equal to 2. Now, let's get started representing the apple votes, which is 16. So how many squares am I going to need? If you said 8, you're absolutely correct. So let's count by 2s until we get to 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. All right, now let's work on strawberry. The number of votes for strawberry was 12, so let's count by 2s and create our squares until we get to 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right, we've completed representing our votes for strawberry. Now let's represent our votes for peach, which is 4. Now, how many squares do I need to represent 4? If you said 2, you're absolutely correct. So that's 2 and 4. Now we've completed 3A. Now we need to complete 3B. Now we're representing the exact same numbers, but the only difference is instead of using units of 2, we're using units of 4. So I'm going to create another key down here. And that key is just going to say that each square with a 4 in it represents or is equal to 4. Now notice banana's already done for us. And we count by 4, so we get to 8. So that's 4, 8. And that means we're going to do the same thing for each of the fruits. So let's go ahead and start with apple. Now, we're using units of 4 this time, which means we're counting by 4s. So how many 4s would I need to equal 16? If you said 4, you're absolutely correct. So 4, 8, 12, 16. 4 4s are equal to 16. We created a vertical strip diagram to represent 16 votes for apple. Now, let's go ahead and create a vertical strip diagram to represent 12 votes for strawberry. And again, each unit is equal to 4. Now, how many 4s is equal to 12? That's right. If you said 3, you're absolutely correct. Let's go ahead and draw them. 4, 8, 12. All right. We've represented our strawberry votes with 3 fours, which is equal to 12. Now, finally, let's represent our peach votes. Now, there were 4 votes for peach. And since we are using units of 4, we only need how many squares? That's right, 1 square. Perfect. Now that we've completed the vertical strip diagrams for numbers 3a and 3b, we can move on to answering the questions below. Now let's start with letter C. Question C says, what is a good title for the vertical strip diagrams? Well, I figure if it's not broke, don't fix it. Let's use the same exact title from the data table, which is Favorite Fruits of Third Graders. Why change it? It's representing the same thing, so keep the same title. Now, for question D, it says, compare the number of units used in the vertical strip diagrams in problems 3A and 3B. Why does the number of units change? Now, I want you to notice something. In 3A, we're counting by 2. In 3B, we're counting by 4. So, the number of units change because 2 is smaller than 4. You need less 4 units than 2 units. Now, if your answer is worded along those lines, then it's perfectly fine. If you had a different explanation, like completely different, then you need to change it. Let's go on to question E. Question E says, write a multiplication number sentence to show the total number of votes for a strawberry in the vertical strip diagram in problem A. So I'm going to draw a little arrow here. All right, this is the column that you need to be representing in a multiplication number sentence. So first, how many 2's do you see here? How many 2's do you see? Right, there are 6 2's. So to represent that as a multiplication number sentence, you could say 6 times 2 equals 12 because there are 6 2's and those 6 2's are equal to 12. Now, let's go on to question F. Question F says, write a multiplication number sentence to show the total number of votes for strawberry in the vertical strip diagram in problem 3B. So I'm going to point an arrow at the column that we're supposed to be focusing on, which is right there. Now, here we're counting by units of 4. How many 4's do you see that represent strawberry? That's right. There are 3 4's that represent strawberry. And saying 3 4's is the same thing as saying 3 times 4. And we know that 3 4's is equal to 12. So the multiplication number sentence that we're supposed to be writing is 3 times 4 equals 12. Now you could have also written it as 4 times 3 equals 12. It's the same thing. Moving on to question G. Question G asks, what changes in your multiplication number sentences in problems 3E and 3F? What changes in your multiplication number sentences in problems 3E and 3F? And why? Well, what changes? Now, let's first think about the parts of a multiplication sentence. The numbers that you multiply are called the factors. The answer is called the product. Now, the product for both of our multiplication number sentences is 12. So the product does not change. But the factors that we're multiplying do change. All right? So when I write the explanation, and when you write your explanation, it should look something like this. The factors, which are the numbers we multiplied, change because the units that we're counting by change. Now, at this point, we've finished with this question. And if you've completed your homework before you watch the video, what you should be doing right now is checking your work against my screen to make sure that what you completed on your own is correct. If you completed it along with me, that's fine. But if you need to pause your video to make sure that your work is correct, go ahead and do so now. Congratulations! Module 6, Lesson 6 homework is now complete. I sincerely hope you tried to complete it on your own before checking your work using the video. And as always, I hope this video has helped. I hope you have a great rest of your day or evening whenever you're watching this video. And anytime you complete math, make sure to check your work just to make sure that your math is mathing. Now, as always, and once again, this is Miss Jones saying bye until next time.